Hey, amazing real estate agents. Yes, I am not Janie Coffey. She will be here very, very shortly. She had a training that she's hopping off and coming back into here, guys, to drop in some amazing, amazing resources and knowledge of how to get some more luxury listings. But I want to kind of start the conversation off, guys, with kind of interaction. So in the chat, no matter where you're watching from, I want you to drop in one thing that you are working on this week to grow your business. As a real estate marketing coach, I absolutely wake up every single day thinking to myself, what is one thing we can do to help a real estate agent grow their business? And we research, we put content in, and we figure out what that is. So I want you guys to be interactive with me. There's several of you guys are on here. So go ahead and put in, what are you doing this week to grow your business? And Jane will be on very shortly. As soon as she comes in, we will let her roll with it. But what are you doing? So in the chat, go ahead and put in exactly what you're doing this week. And if you don't have anything, look at the comments and decide what you're going to do this week to grow your business. Janie's in the house. What's up, Janie?
Hey,
we just kind of started this morning, just kind of talking a little bit through what they're doing this week to grow their business. And then I was going to turn it over to you and let you guys run the show. So love it, guys. I love the howdy, by the way. If you know my accent, it doesn't go away. I travel across the country and it just sticks with me. So it is what it is. And that's just part of the brand you get with Jeremy. So Janie, I know you have been back and forth doing workshops all day long. So I hope you got a little breather in before you go able to release some of this amazing, besides you release this amazing content that you're going to release today. But all right, guys, thank you guys so much for being interactive with me at the beginning. I'm going to release this over to Janie and let her dive in to, getting luxury listings. And what does that entail? So, guys, Janie, thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you. I'm going to hop off. If you need something, guys, I will be behind the scenes.
And Jeremy, if you're behind the scenes and any really amazing question pops up, feel free to go ahead and share it on the screen and I'll try to answer it live. And it is 1:03 p.m. Eastern Standard Time where I am. We are going to go right until 2. I have to pop off at exactly 2 because I have a training to move over to. But I will leave the last 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 15 minutes to answer questions from you guys. And this session specifically came out of the question somebody asked our last month Elevate and Luxury Real Estate Workshop about where to find listings. And Jeremy and I wanted to do a training today specifically on where do you find luxury listings, even if you don't have a known name, like you're not the OG of luxury listings in your area, and that are good for this market 2025 as well. So you don't have to have a known name. You don't have to have a sphere. A lot of these resources are going to be for people who are reinventing themselves in luxury or reinventing themselves in a new market or elevating their price point, any of those things. So whoever asked that question last time about where do we find luxury listings, this is for you, and I hope you're on watching it. And to just give you a little bit of background about where did I get all this knowledge, I'm 20 years in real estate. I've been an owner broker. I've been the executive vice president of a very large Sotheby's franchise. I was a founding agent at Compass. I'm the co-chair of the luxury division at EXP. I've been a top solo agent, a top 10 in my MLS solo agent. I've been a top team leader. And like I said, I owned a small brokerage. So I've had my fingers in luxury real estate and listings specifically for the better part, at least of 15 of the last 20 years. But on top of that, I've spent lots and lots of time talking to lots and lots and lots of successful luxury listing agents at all different brokerages in all different parts of the country and the world. And so because often I was in the role of manager or trainer or coach, they would talk to me and share information with me that they might not share with a fellow agent. So I was able to kind of pull a lot of this information from them, their secret sauce. And the other reason I wanted to share this was a lot of people think there's this mystique to getting luxury listings, or they have to come from a certain background, or they have an accent that's going to keep them from getting the business, or their spouse or their college or whatever. A lot of people, or they have to belong to a certain country club, or they have to be on the board of a certain charity. They believe it, people tell them that, and then they psych themselves out from really going for the business. And none of that's the case. You can do those things, and those things can help, but that's not the only path to having massive success in luxury real estate, on the luxury listing side. So, like I said, I did all of that. I started over fresh 10 years ago. And by the second year in, from a cold start, I was number 2 in my MLS. And my MLS at the time was maybe 8,000 people. I think it's, I don't know, 10 or 12,000 now. But it can totally be done. And that's with no sphere, no background, no closed sales. So real fast, I share this slide with every group that I talk to about luxury real estate, because sometimes people say, oh, we don't have luxury in my market, or they click on to what is like the top 0.5% in their market, and they think that's the only luxury real estate available to be sold. Whereas the reality is, the Institute of Luxury Home Marketing, which is kind of like the granddaddy of all training organizations on luxury real estate, basically says the top 10% of any market is the luxury market for that area. So the top 10% is, if you just sort closed sales in your MLS, residential, closed sales, and then sort them from price, highest to lowest, scroll down until you find that top 90th percentile. So if 10,000 sold in the last year, scroll down to the first 1,000 when it's sorted highest to lowest. And that price break is the top 10%. And that's what the Institute of Luxury Home Marketing considers luxury. Now, what I found is that's often more like starter luxury. That's a price point that is not super intimidating. It's normally move up buyers. It's nicer than, or larger or something than like average price homes in your MLS, but you wouldn't necessarily look at these homes and think, oh my gosh, that's so luxury. And I share that because a lot of people are intimidated. Well, this is a really good place to maybe start your luxury business, or maybe you're already there and you don't know it, or maybe you want to just focus on that and that's the price where you want to stay. A lot of times these homes are still on lockbox for listings, because one of the biggest differences as you go higher and higher in price point, there's a lower and lower and lower chance that you're going to be able to have that listing and not have somebody show it every single time to the buyers and the buyer's agents. In my MLS, they call that agent a company. I don't know what they call it in your area, but as you go higher in price point, the trade-off of your time is normally you are going to have to show those listings, and that could be Saturday, Sunday, whatever. So be thinking of that as you move up into price point. Then I like to go to the top 5%, so the top 95th percentile. That's really for most markets where luxury starts. And then the top 1% or less than top 1%, the 99th percentile, that's really the uber luxury, but that's what we get in our heads often, thinking, well, I can't do that, or that's too high, or something like that. So there's a whole lot of flexibility within that top 10% to that top price point. I'm in Northeast Florida. 700,000-800,000 is about the start of that starter luxury price point. And then we have homes up to 20-30 million, but they are so rare. Even anything over 2 million is the top 1%. So there's a whole range of homes and condos and properties between 700,000-800,000 up to 20 million. So I share all of that just to give you a good frame of reference as you're thinking about working on growing your luxury listing side of the business. Once you've done all that, the top 10, 5, and 1%, also make sure that you look at the map view of your MLS so you can see where those are clustered, where they are concentrated. And then with that, you'll be able to determine If you're going to farm, you can farm a geographical type, you can farm a property type, or you can farm a people type.
Hey,
Geographical,
Janie.
yeah.
Janie, real quick, I always love to hear this from people that are watching and give you a little water break there. Is do you guys in your chat, go ahead in the YouTube chat, go ahead and put in, guys, what's your market? What does that kind of starter luxury price look like in your market?
Yeah.
And that's going to give you kind of that quick overview of saying, okay, it's different everywhere. And so I think that, a lot of brokerages, they kind of determine by this certain price range. And I'm just like, you don't have to go by that, right? And every market is different. I mean, I'm a Kentucky boy, so my market is completely different than those living in San Diego. So I just want to make sure. Thank you guys so much for dropping the chat. That's helpful for me as a moderator to look through them and stuff, and that's great. Thank you guys so much.
I would love to hear, because what's luxury in Kansas or Ohio is going to be very different than what's luxury in New York City or LA or Montreal or Quebec. It varies greatly. Let me go back to my screen. Okay. There we go. Am I on the screen too, Jeremy? I can't tell. Oh, hold on. I'm going to move myself up there too. Oh yeah, I am. Perfect. Okay. So the other thing you want to look at, like I said, are they geographically clustered, either communities, zip codes, cities, but are there property types? Property types could be waterfront, but within waterfront, there could be oceanfront, there could be riverfront, because riverfront you can normally boat at, but you can't boat at oceanfront. Well, I guess you could in some places in the world, but most places in the US, you cannot boat from the oceanfront. So those are two different lifestyles and two different property types. Is there golf? Is there ski? Is there mountain? Is there urban? Is there like certain, gated communities? Like, what is the property type? I know people who specialize in penthouse condos only. I know people who specialize in brownstones only, certain types of historic, like townhouse, row house type things in the Northeast. I know people who specialize in certain architectural styles or certain architects. And then the final thing is maybe there's a people type that you could farm: sports, entertainers, young doctors in general, different things like that. So give a lot of thought, spend the time to really go through your MLS and also analyze the trends. Days on market in these different pockets. Are they going up? Are they going down? List to sales price ratio, months of inventory, and kind of figure it out so that if you're going to be spending your time to really start to lead generate for listings in an area, that area is at least a stable market, ideally a seller's market, but at least a stable market, because you don't want to put all your resources to farm for listings and find out that it's a very strong buyer's market, for example. The other thing you want to do is do a SWOT analysis of that area: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, to see, is there a lot of competition in that market? Is there a lot of turnover in that market? Is it easy to sort? So for example, one of my niches is equestrian properties for horses. That's not an easy thing to sort for the general consumer. You can't really easily go on Zillow and sort horse properties. It's not a checkbox. That makes me much more valuable as an agent, because I've kind of figured out the tips and tricks to sort for equestrian properties. So do a thorough SWOT analysis. And then you definitely want to get a good understanding of the market that you want to build in. You just need to become a lifelong student of that market. Like, set up a hot sheet, review the hot sheet 10, 15 minutes a day, read the comments, see what's going on, what's coming on the market, what's going under contract, what's expiring. If people are having brokers open houses or caravans, go to those properties and really start to understand what's hot in the area, what people are saying, what agents are like, and all that, and start to build relationships with them. The next thing is you really want to make your blueprint, not your fingerprint. I mean, your fingerprint, not your blueprint. And what I mean by that is, I can't tell you, here's the plans to build an amazing listing business. it's a fingerprint. It's unique to you. It's unique to your skill set, your interest, your bandwidth, your resources, your area that you want to serve. But there are several things, and we're going to talk about that now, about how you can get listings. Some of them are more now business. We all want now business, but listing business is often business that you need to curate over time. You need to build and incubate. You need to start getting that market knowledge. You need to start getting that market recognition, where people start to see you. So the thing I always talk to people about over and over is really getting good with market reports. And we're going to talk about that now here in a minute. But creating an amazing market report every single month that you become known as the market report person for that area. And then all the ways that you can repurpose that market report content, postcards, social media, video, send it to the local press, write a blog about it, have an event around it, have it at your open houses. Because when you're putting the data out, and not just putting the data out, but actually explaining what this means to you, excuse me, what this means to you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is days on market is lengthening. What this means to you is, if you've been thinking about selling your home, maybe don't wait till late spring, do it in early spring while there's fewer homes on the market. List to sales price ratio is coming down. Same thing. Don't wait till spring or summer, list sooner. So if you understand the market reports and then you explain what this means to you, because a lot of times they don't know what that means to them, you become seen as the expert a lot faster than if you weren't putting market reports out at all. And if you weren't explaining to them, you almost become like the economy analyst that's on the news, where you're saying what this means to you. You could be using—
Janie, real quick, I just going to jump in. I love this part. And so I'm all about, setting up market reports and automations, depending on what CRM stuff you have.
Yeah.
Because one, it keeps you in front of them for sure. And it's automated, which is even better. But I've got a couple of luxury agents that are killing it right now. By what they do is that once a month, they pick a date and time. They actually mark it on their calendar and block that time off. And then they actually do a market analysis. So they actually use ChatGPT for this. So they'll go in and say, hey, give me a market analysis for the top 10% of properties in my area. And they'll pull out a cool little market analysis summary. And then they say, hey, write me a quick teleprompter script to kind of talk about this. And then they'll record a video with that market report, and they'll mass email that video out with the current text market report to their database. And there's, lo and behold, they get at least 4 to 5 responses from those emails alone. But one, yes, as long as you know if they're open, if they're open, you're doing your justice. You are communicating what needs to be done. So don't get down. I saw an agent the other day that got one-on-one meeting with me, Janie, and they were like, Jeremy, here's the problem. They're not responding. And I said, yes, but are they opening it? And they checked. There's like a 60% open rate on those. And I'm like, great, you're doing your job. Keep at it. And I just want to kind of bring the encouragement that it's small steps, baby steps that make big differences. And so, make those monthly investments in those market reports.
Yeah. The market report is the thing I think every single person, I'm actually going to talk more about it in just a second here. The one thing that I think every single person in real estate should become a master of, and not just doing it one time, but squeezing that lemon. And I'm going to talk about how I have a whole slideshow. I have a whole slide on all the ways you can repurpose that, because you become seen as the expert exponentially faster when you're putting out these meaty market reports. So these are some main lead sources. I love the Oompa Loompas, that they have their golden eggs, right? So I want you to find what your golden egg is. And these are some of the main sources of luxury listings, and I broke them down into 2 sections. One is possible now business. Like I said, we all want now business, like who is ready to list now, or now being, say, the next 3 months. That's ideal. Expireds and for sale by owners are now type business. Those are two sources of business that you can go after. You could potentially go after nothing else. You could always do your market report. Janie says, do your market report. But as long as you're doing your market report and you only go after expireds or FSBOs, that could be a main source of business. And expireds can be the traditional phone calling expireds, prospecting, or it can be a mailing based expired system as well. That's what I do because I was not comfortable calling people. I can give courses all day long. I can speak on stages all day long, but calling and I just freeze up. It's just not me. But some people are really, really good. But those are the two highest sources of now business. And then you would apply them to those areas where we did earlier in the training today, finding out where are those pockets of the top 5-10% of the market. Open houses can also be a great source of business because they're not just a source of business for buyers, but all the things you can do around open houses can really, and they don't even have to be your own open house. Find somebody in your brokerage and say, hey, can I host an open house? What can you do to market an open house that might get eyes for a seller? You can do social media ads. You can do Facebook and Google ads for that open house with your face on it. You can direct mail postcards to the neighborhood promoting that open house, again, with your face on it. You can door knock and do door hangers a couple days before, inviting people to the open house. You can go and stand in front of the house, let's say Tuesday, if the open house is going to be Saturday or Sunday, do a selfie style video with the house in the background, or if you have a photographer, somebody can do it with you with the house in the background, inviting people to come to your open house, and then run Facebook ads, Google ads, the 3 or 4 days leading up to that. You can target it somewhat. You can make an event in Facebook where you're pushing it. So people who are thinking about selling their home 3 to 6 months before they're going to list their home love to go to open houses. So if you become like an amazing open house host and marketer, people are going to pay attention. I always put at least 20 foil balloons, not Mylar balloons, not any other kind of balloons, but 20 foil, where they're shiny, foil balloons with really nice directional yard signs, at least 20 pointing to my open houses. It takes me about 45 minutes. It's not a walk in the park. But what happens is people will come up and they'll see me doing that. And they're like, oh, my agent didn't do that, or my agent said open houses are not, worth something. And then I end up getting listing appointments when those expire, or they come to the open house and they see like the nice spread and they see how welcoming and they see all the activity. So open houses can be a huge source of business because those are people often coming to them who are thinking of selling their home in the next few days. And all the neighbors see all the promotion that you're doing for that house. And they're like, wow, that's really, really great. So open houses, people don't realize what a great lead tool they are for listings. There's lots of paid lead sources for listings for now business. There's kind that you pay up front in advance, and there's a kind that you pay, a referral portion of the commission. There's tons of lead sources for that. So if you have the finances and you want to go that route, that's a route you can go while you're getting traction. And there's quite a few that you pay a referral at closing, so you don't have to pay up front. And then if your brokerage has a relocation department, a lot of larger brokerages have a relocation division where they have partnered with relocation services, that when a company is relocating people from their company, they will often list with somebody from that relocation division. It normally comes with a pretty hefty referral fee, but that's business that you wouldn't have had otherwise. So those are some of the top sources for now, or now being the next 3 to 6 months type of listings. The other sources of business for, let me pop over here. The other sources of business that you're going to be incubating, because all real estate is a combination for lead gen of now business. That's what we all want, but you also have to be putting the building blocks together for your future business too, because at some point you're going to close your now business and you want to be constantly generating a fatter and more healthy pipeline of future business. So direct mail is my all-time favorite. I love direct mail. It's one of the most robust ways, but it takes time because it just takes time before you've put out enough pieces that happens to hit where somebody is now finally deciding that they're ready to consider listing and selling their home, that they're recognizing, oh yeah, so-and-so Jeremy has been showing up in my mailbox, consistently over the last 6, 9, 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, whatever. I love direct mail farming. Direct mail farming can come in the format of postcards. It can come in the format of little magazines. You've seen those put out. You've seen people do that. It can be market reports. But I absolutely think one of the strongest ways to generate long-term listing domination is direct mail. Expireds can be also a longer-term play because some people expire and then they don't relist for 6, 9, 12 months, 18 months later. So you can be nurturing them all along while everybody else has forgotten about them and moved on. Social media can be a great source of listing traffic. You just have to change the language. A lot of times when people are putting social media out and video out, they're doing it with language that's to pull in buyers. They're talking about communities and lifestyles and what's going on. You would need to be putting out your contact in language that would be attractive and appealing to sellers. An email newsletter, kind of like what Jeremy was saying, if you can start to build from all of these activities, from your open house sign-ins, from people that you meet, from all the things that you're doing, start to build your email list, and then definitely have a really great email newsletter. There's 2 schools of thought on this. There's a school of thought of people who put out an email newsletter once a month, but really, really great, high production, high content quality. And there's people who put out an email newsletter on a weekly basis, trimmed down some. It's more the basic nuts and bolts of what's going on in the market, what's hot, what's listed. You have to figure out what is more your personality type. But that's basically digital farming in a certain way because you're showing up over and over. The term farming basically comes from, if you have a farm, like a real farm. I live in a farm town. Tractors pass my office all day, every day, 25 times a day. We are potato and cabbage farmers. And so what the farmers have to do, they have to get the soil ready. And then they have to put the rows in the soil, and then they plant the seeds, and then they fertilize and cultivate and weed and water. And then at some point there is the harvest of the cabbage or the potatoes. That's exactly what farming is. You are getting your soil ready, which is picking your area. You're planting your seeds, which is putting your stuff out there, and then you nurture them. And that's the frequency and the consistency of showing up in people's mailboxes or inboxes over and over and over. And then eventually there's a harvest. That's exactly where that term comes from. Networking, like if you're good networking, you love to network, be networking where people spend their time, but also be networking with fellow service providers, fellow professionals who might be working with folks who have luxury property, higher end attorneys, probate attorneys, financial planners. If you're in an area that has a high number of seniors, that could be networking with the nursing home, memory care, assisted living facilities, because a lot of times people are having to sell their home to move into those. So networking, but not just la-di-da networking occasionally. I'm talking about making it part of your business plan, like really figuring out how are you going to make that part of your business plan? What are you going to do? Who are you going to meet? How are you going to follow up with them? How are you going to connect with them? And then, of course, blogging, having a website, SEO, PPC, all of that. Not that you should do all of these things. You should pick 1 or 2 things. I would, like I said, I would become a master of the market report, which we're going to talk about next. Everybody should do that. Everybody should do that. But then you should pick 1 thing and really, for the next 3, 6, 9 months, really focus on that 1 thing, get it down. That could be the open houses. That could be expireds. That could be the paid lead sources, whatever it is, just focus on that until it's running smoothly before you pick up another thing. Now, if you have not yet been big in listing luxury homes, I would definitely suggest that you do an audit of your materials. What does your branding look like? What do your materials look like? What do your cards feel like? What do your folders and swag? What do your signs look like? Do they blend together with your brokerage's materials? Do they feel nice? Do they look nice? Is the quality nice? Is all those things, do they look and feel luxury and elevated and professional? And then I would also, like I said, even if you haven't been selling luxury, I would spend some time developing that market knowledge, 10, 15 minutes a day, really doing a deep dive in your area to do that. And part of that you can do with making that foundation of your monthly market report. And this is an example. This is just a carousel that we've created for our team, where each team member has 4 parts to their carousel. This is for Instagram, where they pick the area that they farm, or that they're specializing in, and then they put the market stats, and then they do a whole write-up on what that means to me or what that means to you. And again, if you were specifically working on getting listings, I would put all this context. What does that mean to you as a seller? And then there's a call to action, right?
So Janie, this could be obviously an Instagram post, what it looks like you guys done here. It could be definitely an Instagram post with a carousel, right? It could also be, this could be converted into like an email, which is fantastic. Yeah. And there's like, you could convert this into a video as well. Like so many different options with just these 4 slides, which is crazy amazing. Yeah. I think this is a no-brainer. Take notes on this, because those 4 pieces alone should be your breakdown elements every single month, or every single month. Weekly.
Yeah. And now, like you said, with the help of ChatGPT, once you start feeding this into ChatGPT and they know how you want it broken down, they know how you want it written, they know that who you want to be writing to, they can be, whatever you want to call your ChatGPT, it can be writing amazing what this means. Because right now, in this point in time, a lot of people don't know what's going on with the real estate market. There's so much different stuff coming out from the news. We don't know where we're going with the economy. We don't know where we've come from. It's all very confusing. But what's not confusing is the data. The data is the data. But then you have to explain, what does longer days on market, what does that mean to you as a seller? What does increasing or decreasing list to sales price ratio mean to you as a seller? What does increasing or decreasing months of inventory mean to you as a seller? That's why it's not just about sharing the data, because the average person does, even if they're very savvy real estate people, they don't always know what these little data points mean individually. That's why we break it down, what this means to you. And like Jeremy was saying, it only takes 15, 30 minutes to pull this data, put it together, look at it, understand it per month. But then you don't want to just do that. You want to repurpose that in many different ways. This is Janine. Janine is a beautiful woman. She actually makes videos where she looks like a newscast person, and she puts these out on her Instagram. But if you have a blog, if you make a video you can embed that video into your blog and then put your blog out. You can put your blog in, you can make a little QR code on all your materials. Hey, scan this for the most recent luxury market report for your area. You can put that all over. You can have, like I said, all your different social accounts, YouTube. If you're doing, let me jump over here. If you're doing video, you can make shorts where you can break it up into little snippets, little teaser snippets, where you can put it on YouTube Shorts, TikTok, IG stories, Facebook stories, Instagram Reels, LinkedIn now even has that. And then you can have your long form video and put that in YouTube. And that's what you can embed over into your blog. If you have BombBomb or anything that has that video, like you said, where you can send it out that way. You can have postcards where you have a QR code on the postcards. If you're farming, you can have postcards with the QR code. Hey, want to hear about the latest market report? Here's a 5-minute snippet, scan this QR code. And then like Jeremy's saying, then you start to see where the people coming from, and you can capture their emails. You can capture their phone numbers. You can get really good using SEO for your text and titles in your video and on your blog. Always try to, if your website or your blog is kind of your hub, then use those videos and those social media pieces to push it back on. Share it on social media. Here for our team, the other thing we did was we made door hangers that are super inexpensive to order from Vistaprint. So as you see, it's this, the door hangers, of course, a rectangle. I made it a thing just for our presentation, but Carla took the same data from her social shareables and put it into her door hangers, and they come from Vistaprint with the hole already cut off. So you yourself can go hang those around, or you can pay somebody to go hang those around in the area that you're farming already. So now they're getting the mail, they're getting the invitations to your open houses, they're getting their direct mail, they're seeing your social posts. But door hangers are very inexpensive, and you're already created the content. Why not go ahead and get them? What else? Have them at your open houses, send out postcards, send out letters. Now is not too late to do like a 2024 year-end review, where you review what was 2024. We're almost done with Q1 of 2025. So by early April, you can do a Q1 review. How does that compare to Q1 of 2024? How does it compare to Q1 of 2021, 22, and 23? Just again, when you're putting the data together and you're getting it out there in the eyes of, in the way a seller should know, you become the expert so much faster than everybody else. You can send it to the media in your area. They always need that kind of data. You can even offer to, write a monthly column on the state of the luxury market in your area. If it's a smaller newspaper or a smaller kind of media site, they might take you up on that. And then break it into stories. So let me make sure, other things you can do. This is Real Marketing that we're big fans of. They actually create market reports, and they combine them with like a community piece that can either be a 4-piece large one or a 2-piece flip over, where they actually pull all the data and put it in here and they mail it out. You can even have a call to action where if they scan that, each one of them gets their own QR code on the scan. So then you've seen, just like Jeremy's saying, your thing is to get them to take action. So if you see them opening that up over and over and over, you know that, oh, this is somebody that's really, really interested in that. Direct mail, like I said, I love direct mail. You can always do just listed, just sold, open house direct mail, but at least once a month, if you're farming an area, I would be sending out some kind of piece about what the market is doing. And then the call to action is always, would you like a home valuation for your own home? Happy to do like a complimentary, no obligation thing, because that's what people always want to know, right? They're always curious about that. We talked about this. This is how you can repurpose all that content. And then, so right now, we don't know what's going on in the market. We literally haven't known what's going on in the market for like 5 years, right? In 2018, we had a recession, 2007, 2008. By 2009, we were recovering. By 2018, I was thinking, oh, we're due for like a downturn, because real estate is cyclical. It's on about an 18-year cycle where it's, up, down. Is generally over long term going up, but it's like working its way up like this. So by 2018, I was thinking, 2019, I was like, oh, we are really due for a downturn. And then COVID happened. COVID was a disaster for some areas, but for us here in Florida and other parts of the country, it was a huge boom. Then we had kind of crazy interest rates. So 2023, 2024 was kind of like, pretty flat, not a lot happening. Now we've got all kinds of things going on with the economy. We don't know what's up, but there is a certain element of real estate. First of all, real estate happens in an up market or a down market. We make money when a property closes. We make a little bit more if the price has gone up, but it doesn't matter. We make money when the property closes. So our goal as real estate agents is to find the people who are actually closing deals in any market, an up market or a down market. If you're concerned that the market might be going down or is unstable in your area, then and you want to focus on listings, which I think you all should, because that allows you to control your time the most, control your marketing the most, really be very focused about where you're doing your business. The lowest hanging fruit in any market, even a down market, maybe even better in a down market for listings, even in the higher prices, are expireds, because they've already raised their hand and tried to sell. They maybe got a little taste of where the market really is with that first agent. And unfortunately, God bless him, that first agent is the one who had to pay the tune to get that seller realistic in price. So expireds are one of the hottest things you can do. You can do calling, prospecting, cold calling, or you can do no call, mailing based, digital, whatever. But expireds. For sale by owners, still a huge number of people who, the majority of people who try to sell their home for sale by owner end up selling with an agent. So that's another great thing, especially they might be getting nervous now. Unfortunately, people divorce. They divorce more often in a down market. And when they are divorcing, normally the home needs to be sold. So divorce is one other aspect of business. So there's a whole pocket of agents who focus on divorce real estate. They network with divorce professionals, attorneys, financial planners, things like that. Probate, unfortunately, people pass away and their homes then need to be sold most of the time, no matter what. So there's people who focus on probate and they spend their time networking with estate planning attorneys and probate attorneys and financial planners. And they built their whole business around that. Downsizing or right sizing, that's when people reach a certain age and now they want a smaller home. Maybe they want a one-story home. Maybe they're moving to assisted living or memory care or a nursing home. They normally need to sell their house. These are all things that are not affected by the economy because these things happen. It's just a matter of life. And these all normally involve the sale of homes. So, and just as much in the luxury price point as any other price point. So these are all great sources of listings for any market, but especially in a down market. Relocation, when companies are moving. So each one of these is a specific niche in lead generation. It's not that you can do all of these. You need to figure out which one is most likely strong in the area where you do business. Which one is the kind of business that you would like to do? Some people I know who are in silver real estate who do right sizing or downsizing, they love it because they love working with older people. They love helping them out. They're very patient with them. Some people love divorce and probate. They just love it. That's their niche. So figure out which of these you might really, really enjoy, where your skill set, your interest, and that might be strong in your area. Right now, also, if the market is rocky, often second homes, Airbnb, short-term rentals are the properties that get sold. So I'm here in St. Augustine, Florida, which is one of the top Airbnb markets in the country, at least in the US. But a lot of people are selling them because it softened so much. It boomed during COVID, but then it softened a lot in the last 2 years. So they are looking to sell, and they have to sell most of the time. So because they're not getting the rents or the income that they had purchased based on. And second homes too, if people have to kind of tighten their belts a little bit, second homes are often one of the first things to go. So also specialties, doctors, athletes, these people often need to move for work no matter what. Military folks need to move no matter what during certain, things with their career. So these are 8 sources of potential luxury listings that are hot no matter what the market is doing and don't require you to have a well-known name or to be with a well-known brokerage or to have, a sphere or to be on a board of some hospital or some school. All of these are sources of luxury listings that you yourself can generate by diving in head deep into them. So now we're going to move into the questions. I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I've got 14 minutes for questions. And then I have a training at 2 that I have to jump over
Awesome. Fantastic stuff, guys. And if you got it, hopefully you got some at least encouragement here of what you could do next, right? And so I've got a couple questions. I'm going to go and put them in from bottom to top here. And so the very first one was, Jane, do you have any idea what their monthly price range is for like real market? I know it depends on how much mailings, that kind of stuff, but it's kind of like a starter price. Do you have any idea?
I think a starter price could probably be in the high hundreds to the low thousand price point. They have 3 different ways that they can do it. Either they just automatically pull the MLS data and send them out, you never touch it again, or they make each individual piece highly customized where you can like highlight one of your listings or tell a story, and then it of course depends on the size of your farm.
Just love it. Another question. I'd like to do an email newsletter, which we would highly recommend, but where do you recommend to start?
Yeah. So, Jeremy, you might be this is like your jam.
Oh, this is my jam. So I was going to this is where I would start. Here's the basics, right? I am an AI guy. As soon as it started, I've been to AI. That's where I would start, is go to ChatGPT. Now, look, I'm just going to be honest with you. I personally would pay the $20 a month to get the current data. With the new ChatGPT plan, it's $20 a month. You can actually go in, it pulls out real live data, it checks websites, it uploads it's amazing. And so I'll tell you what, I'll do a little show and tell, because I was in the back end playing around while Janie was talking, and I do want to show how easy this was. Let me share my screen with you real quick. This is just ChatGPT in the back end, guys. But what I did is I put an easy prompt, right? Write a luxury real estate market report for the month of February and I chose my city. And then it literally kicked back my market report data that I can use for the report. But I went further. I said, great, now I got that data. Give me a teleprompter script so I could do a video, right, about the same data. And it literally wrote the script for me word by word, so I can literally read it off a teleprompter if I wanted to. Obviously, get good at it. I'm pretty daggone good at reading off a teleprompter. So, it's one of those things, you'll get in that better habit of it the more you try it. And then lastly, I went further. I said, which data should I put into an Instagram post about the market report? And it literally kicked out the exact data I would need for that market report. Now, obviously, double check the data. That's always kind of a big thing. You don't want to be putting out some stuff that doesn't make sense. But I want to make real clear, guys, that's where I would start. And you can put into the prompt, I want to create a real estate marketing newsletter for my business this week. Can you give me an article to write for that newsletter? And it will kick that out for you. So good place to start, right? Double check things, but that's what I do to start. And really go to Canva and type in newsletter header, and it will literally have you 4,000 options of newsletter headers. Put your profile picture into it. Make sure you look good, right? Say, exactly put the title, real estate newsletter, put that as your on top of the newsletter, because most people just put text, and text is boring. So put some graphics in there in your newsletters to draw your eyes, right? And then the most important part is your subject line, right? So make sure your subject line intrigues them. So you want to make sure there's a curiosity question, or to make sure there's some kind of intriguing question. And then last but not least, I'll give you my best tip to get these things opened is put in their actual name. So most CRMs has something called a data field, and you can literally put in their name in the subject line of all the emails, even if it's a mass email. You can put in their name, and that literally opens the emails about 20% more, because they're like, oh, Jeremy, I'll click on that because it's my name. And it's just how it works. It's psychological a little bit. So hopefully that answers some of the questions, how to get rolling with the newsletters. I know we're going to be doing some templates inside Canva and all that good stuff more. Next question real quick, because I want to keep Janie too long. Next question. Started that one already. What companies are best for direct mail farming? I know, Janie, you've used a couple companies over the years, and
so direct mail farming, it depends.
Yep.
there's two main ways you can do direct mail farming. One is if you have a curated list or you curate a list. That curated list could look like a list that you've curated from the homeowners in the area. Like one of my niches is historic homes in downtown St. Augustine over $1 million. Like that's very specific. I don't want to mail every house in downtown St. Augustine because a lot of them are not in my niche. So I combed through the tax records and built a list of about 400 homes. That could include your sphere of influence. That could include recent expireds who didn't sell. That would be a curated list where you're actually mailing to their names. Now hold that for 1 second. The other way to do direct mail farming is mailing to post office routes, where it doesn't matter what their name is. It doesn't matter if it's a $100,000 house or a $5 million house, if they're next to each other. If they're in the same route, they're going to get that piece. That's through the U.S. Postal Service, and that's called EDDM, Every Door Direct Mail. There are companies that you can upload your list if you have that curated list, and they will print the names and the addresses on every single postcard you create, and they will mail them out. There's also companies that, because Every Door Direct Mail takes a little bit of paperwork because you're filling out forms that get provided to the post office, because the post officer who's doing that route gets bundles. Like if he or she has 250 homes in their route, they're getting 250 of your pieces. So there's companies that will actually do the whole EDDM portion as well as the printing. What I've chosen to do in the areas that I want to farm using EDDM, because it's homogeneous enough that I want everybody in that postal route, I actually found it's much less expensive to find a good quality printer locally who is familiar with EDDM, because they will bundle the pieces, because the post office takes them bundled in hundreds. They will bundle them in hundreds, and then I just fill out the forms and take them to the post office. That's going to be the most affordable way to do it. But if you don't want to do that, or that seems like a big headache, I would just email EDDM. I would Google EDDM for real estate and find out which companies do it. But I would make sure you get a sample of their postcard so you can make sure the stock, like how thick the postcard is, the ink, everything like that looks really good, really top quality. Now for the mailing list, I've always liked Express Docs. That's from my old Sotheby's days. I still love Express Docs. But there's a bunch of different companies that will allow you to upload a list and mail them out. Now the one trick, one more thing, and then we'll move on for a few more questions. If you're going to do direct mail farming, there's two different rates for postage. One is first class, and one is third class, or standard, I think it's called. With first class, one, it's delivered much faster, normally a few days after it's mailed. And two, if it's returned because the people have moved, you get it back. With EDDM or third class or standard, it's a lot less expensive, the postage, but it takes 2 to 3 weeks often to get sent out, and you don't get the returned back. So what I suggest you do is do 3 to 4 at the standard rate, and then every fourth first class rate. So at least you can keep your list relatively clean, because you don't want to be mailing hundreds or thousands of pieces and find out, 20% of them moved. So anyway,
great answer.
Well, that was a long answer, but
that's right. There's so much to that.
Direct mail is my jam.
Yeah, there is so much to that. And there's another company I use for years and I recommend to a lot of my coaching clients is the Personal Marketing Company. They've been fantastic for, just getting something that's quality out to your database, to your sphere. A couple companies, I saw some questions come in about where do I get the email addresses? RedX is a good resource for that. The property, or what's it called? I can't remember the name of it now. I'll try to find the resources and put them in the chat, guys, so you guys can see them.
And that's something you're going to curate over time too. So, if you're putting out a piece you can have them, maybe you're sharing like, when's the best time to list? And you share that on social media. Don't just include that right there. Have them request it, and to get it, they have to put their email list. So that's a way to build your email list. When you're at open houses, you can build your email list. When you're networking with people, you can build your email list. So your email list is something that you do build over time.
And what I love about this is, guys, your email list is yours. That's you know, I'm a big believer in social media marketing, stuff like that. But you don't own the algorithms on social media, right? You own your database. So just make sure that is something you are putting time and effort into to build, because that's your business. And if something goes away with Facebook or something happens with Instagram, you never know, right? Then we have a business plan that actually makes sense, that you own, that you have control over. So I love it. You guys are awesome. Janie, I'm going to go and start wrapping this thing up. I know you got a lot of questions that came in, and you answered most of them, so it's fantastic. Guys, we would love to obviously talk to you more and chat with you guys to figure out how we can help you grow your businesses. That's why every single week we have at least some kind of training that will help you grow your luxury business. Our next big public training is going to be the 4th Wednesday of this month. I believe that's going to be, I can't remember. Carrie's leading that one, I believe. Bringing some big guests in as well for those. But if you ever need anything, feel free to reach out. Janie, she's a crucial element of helping agents grow your business. So Janie, thank you so much for your time and your valuable insight on what we could do to help you grow your businesses. Guys, you guys are awesome. Thanks so much. Really appreciate y'all. You guys have a blessed rest of your day. Have a good one.
Bye. Thank you.